never at war. We're all going to get rich. Life is going to be grand. A funny thing happened along the way to my generation and my kids' generation. Some bad things happened. 9/11 happened. 9/11 happened, and it reminded this country again that there are evil people. Now let me go back. 9/11 happened, and it reminded us that there is an evil in the world. And an evil that flew planes into two towers, tried to fly a plane into the Capitol, the White House, and killed 3,000 people, most of whom were Americans, but not all of whom were Americans. We were reminded there's an evil. The second thing my generation and my kids' generation has been hit with over the last 10 to 15 years is nothing's for free. We can't keep growing. The value of your house doesn't always go up. Whatever you invest in the stock market doesn't always go up. Sometimes the economy crashes. Sometimes our government lives beyond its means. This has been a tough 3 or 4 years for all Americans. It's been a tough 10 to 12 years. Let's hope that everything we've had to go through and will continue to have to go through will make my generation and my kids' generation and their generation stronger. Let's hope, because we all needed to be reminded. Welcome. Walkers for Walker. That's a heck of a t-shirt. Walkers for Walker. I like that. That flag needs to be defended. We've been reminded since 9/11 that men and women will die for us. It's a good thing for my kids to know. It's a good thing for your grandkids to be reminded of. Let's hope that my generation and my kids' generation, after everything we've been through the last 3 to 4 to 5 years, will be reminded that freedom's important. Everybody says now, November 6th, most important election in our lives. Yeah, it is. It's a heck of a lot more important than just an election. It's a heck of a lot more important. Let's hope that my generation and my kids' generation understand November 6th, how important a vote is. You may disagree with a lot of what I say. A lot of people do. This country that I love and you love, I think has been asleep. We've been asleep for years. And we've let the problems in this country get to this point. Way too easy. It's way too easy to blame your politicians. After all, what are your politicians? What am I? I'm just a reflection of the people I represent. It's way too easy to throw stones at our politicians. Let me tell you, they all deserve to have stones thrown at them. But this country's been asleep. If you're upset because your government is living way beyond its means, we've let it get that way. If you're upset that about 14 to 15% of Americans aren't working right now, we've let it get that way. If you're upset because this country you love feels like it's stepping on its very founding documents, we've let it get this way. And I know this is the last thing politicians are supposed to say, because I want you all to vote for me. So I'm not going to blame you. No, you guys are great. The American people are the smartest people in the world. Generally, we are. Nobody around the world has more common sense than the American people. Generally, that's true. But voter, American people, if you're not happy with where your country's at right now, if you're genuinely scared, and oh, by the way, you should be, about the kind of country we're handing off to our kids, take a look inside each and every one of us. Because we have been asleep at the wheel, and we've elected and encouraged and trained politicians to just give us things, to just try to get reelected every election. We've done that. I love saying this, because we all look toward Barack Obama or Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan or, and not Joe Biden, or any of these guys. We all look, we look toward John Boehner, Nancy Pelosi, your congressmen, your senators. Come on, guys, turn this thing around. Baloney. Baloney. They will do what you tell them to do. And if you tell your politicians, you know what? I don't want my government living beyond its means. You know what, politician? I'm a little smarter than you think I am. I know that Medicare is going to be gone in 12 years. I know that Medicare is going to be gone in 12 years. So don't just tell me don't do anything about it. I'm 69, 70 years old, okay? I want my benefits, but I want that program around for my kids and my grandkids, and I'm willing to do what I need to do to make sure that program's around. Until we're ready to talk this way to our politicians, they're not changing. They're not changing. Until the American people look their politicians in the eyes and say, excuse me, Congressman Walsh, I want you to get reelected, but I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to go to Washington, and I want you to try to limit what Washington takes from me. Excuse me. I'd like to have more of what I make. And then, Mr. Congressman, I'd like to be free and responsible for my own life. Until the American people start to talk this way to our politicians and our leaders, I can tell you, Republican or Democrat, especially Democrat, they're just going to play the same old game, guys. I want to get reelected. I want to get reelected. What's it going to take? If I offer you free contraceptives, will that get your vote? If I legalize you all, will that get you your vote? Students, if I forgive your student loans, will that get your vote? We've trained them to do this. We've trained our politicians to give me something and I'll get your vote. And so here we sit in August of 2012, and this lovely country is about to fall into the ocean because we have nothing left to give. We're more broke than anybody in this room knows. Anybody. And it's going to continue. It's going to continue unless you force your politicians to do and say something different. You know this, when we have town halls, there's only one rule, and I'll be done speaking in a minute. There's only one rule: respect everybody. Respect every opinion in this room. No member of Congress does this more than I do. I do it because I feel like it's important. I'm campaigning this way because I feel like this is the best way to campaign. So I can hear from and touch and listen to as many voters as I can. This doesn't work unless we respect every opinion in the room. That's my only rule. So please respect everybody. Couple quick points. Actually, one quick point. Once again, I invited my opponent, Tammy Duckworth, to join us. Once again, she did not accept. I want to be really clear, guys, that this is just a fascinating election. The race between Walsh and Duckworth is really close. I expect it to stay close. But we're running two very, very different campaigns, okay? Somebody said it to me, Helene, yesterday. We were at our 6th or 7th stop, and I was about ready to pass out in between riding in the RV, and a supporter came up and said, "Gosh darn it, Walsh, you're everywhere and Duckworth's nowhere." And I said, that's right. That's right. We're trying to win this campaign by getting in front of every voter. Tammy Duckworth, God love her, she's over there in that camera. Everybody wave to Tammy. Tammy's trying to run a campaign by filming Joe Walsh talking to voters. Now, ordinarily, I guess that's how a lot of politicians try to get reelected. Raise a lot of money, don't get in front of people, because if you do this a lot, there might actually be somebody in this room who doesn't like me and could ask me a really difficult question. And that scares politicians. We know it scares Tammy Duckworth. Because Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel, they've told her, don't get in front of people. Don't get in front of people. That's not who I am, and I don't think that's how any candidate should run. Final point I'll say about this, especially this year, when you and you and you and you and you and you and me are going to decide in one day, the kind of country a child, not even born yet, is going to live in. In one day, I don't have grandkids yet. I've got 3 kids. Everybody knows I've got 3 kids. 25, 21, and 17. I don't have grandchildren yet. But what this country does on November 6th will dictate the kind of country my grandkids are going to inherit. How mind-boggling is that? The most important election in their lives, and they're not even born yet. So I don't know. I think because the stakes are so big, it's really important that your candidates this year, Republican and Democrat, get out and face the voters. All of you. Republican, Independent, and Democrat. Tell me where you stand. Tell me what you think. This is an important election. And there is not a politician or a candidate that should get anybody's vote this year if they don't have the decency to do that. And if I were running against another Republican, I'd say the same darn thing. Not this year. I'm asking you and you to get off your backsides and really get involved this election. Because I'm asking you to do that, you should ask the same thing of your candidates. Well, darn it, candidate, that get out there every day. Get in front of as many voters as you can. Tammy Duckworth's already turned down about 7 to 8 debate invitations. Here's the kicker, and I got a big old list. Groups from all over the district she said no to. Here's the kicker. I guarantee you, right, Tammy, here they come. Look at Miss Duckworth. By mid to late September, there will be big, noisy commercials that mean old Joe Walsh wants to end Medicare as we know it. She must say that to herself before she goes to sleep. End Medicare as we know it. The AARP invited Walsh and Duckworth to debate. The AARP. And she said no. And yet she's going to attack me for wanting to end Medicare, and she wouldn't debate me in front of the AARP. if you're not ready